Hi everyone and welcome. I'm John Peitzman, JP, the creator of the Build Framework and your host on the Build Show with JP. And on the Build Show, as you know, we walk through the Build Framework and we do that by talking to amazing guests. And today is no exception. We have an amazing guest. His name, Wes Pettit. And let me tell you a little bit about Wes. Through his company, White Pony Entertainment, Wes has run over 600 events across Melbourne here in Australia, booking some of the most exciting musical artists and celebrities from across the globe, entertaining crowds into literally the thousands. Capitalizing on his strong love of learning, Wes pivoted mid-2017 to create a podcast with a similar name, White Pony Network, which features interviews with incredible individuals within his network who have found their purpose, are adding value, generating wealth, and changing lives. Worlds have then collided now to form Wes's latest, largest, and most pivotal project, MindAim. MindAim utilizes experts via live events and online resources with the mission of helping people to win their inner game in happiness, purpose, and achievement to become the difference that they really want to see in the world. And today, Wes joins me via Zoom to talk about how he has utilized the Build Framework methodologies to reach the level of success he has, not just with his past companies, but how he's using Build on his new ventures as he moves forward with even greater success. Wes, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, JP. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, awesome. So I guess tell us about your journey other than, I obviously gave the overview there for folks, but anything else about your journey that I did not mention, and more specifically, what are you excited about with that journey as you sit here today?
It's been quite an interesting journey, and for so much of my life, I was just focused on the external results, the I'll be happy when sort of thing. And around about a year ago, it was when I really started looking inside because I realized that I was missing something, and discovering that actually, I can be happy now. I can find peace sort of in myself to then be inspired to share with others. That was a real turning point for me. And I suppose that's where MindAim has come about, all these different areas of interest that I have, that I've realized that I can sort of mold it all together, use my skills, and just continue to share my message.
Right. And that's amazing. I love the name, by the way, MindAim. Tell me a little bit more about that. What does that really mean to you, and how did you come up with it?
Well, I wanted something really simple, short, not too many syllables, that sort of explained what it was about. And I suppose what I mean is just explain that it's to do with something to do with the mind, aiming the mind. So it's kind of a blank canvas name with some meaning behind it, in terms of someone could look at it and think, oh, okay, it's something to do with the mind. And then I guess it's my job then to really explain through the slogan and our marketing what exactly it is and how we can really help others in happiness, purpose, and achievement.
Right. Well, that's great, and it certainly gets their attention. and I love how it's focused on the mind, right, and aiming in the right direction, as it were. And I know that that's exactly what the Build framework does, right? And I know that you've been very successful in implementing the methodologies of Build, not just in your past, activities and successes, but in what you're going to be doing and are doing with MindAim as well. And for those listeners out there that are not yet familiar with the Build framework, Build is an acronym, of course. It stands for Build Relationships, Understand the Business, Implement Strategies, Lead and Inspire, and Deliver Excellence. And it's not just those random letters and areas, but it's really how those all work together as a cohesive whole, and how you actually use one to quite literally build on the other. So, Wes, I think what we love to do here on the Build Show, obviously, is talk about really specifically how that's worked for you. And you can maybe give a couple examples of, whatever that means for either past successes or how you're using that currently. And we start with talking about relationships and the importance of building relationships. And, what relationships have you built that were kind of instrumental in your success? Or what relationships are you building now?
I think first and foremost, the most important relationship that I've had for the last 5-8 years would be with my fiance, Kira. Just this support that she's, that she has for me. And I think just being able to understand her values and my values and really work together. So it really helped with understanding people, with working with with others because it's on such an intimate level. We both have interests in what we're trying to do professionally as well, and each other's families. So I think that's been a fantastic experience. I'm very grateful for that relationship.
Amazing. That's really, and it sounds like even though that's a personal relationship, you actually articulated ways that personal relationship helps you professionally as well. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. One example is Kira is my editor-in-chief.
Well, there you go, quite literally. Right?
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic, just the support. So when I'm doubting myself, Kira will have basically a different perspective, an outside perspective to say, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Or if I'm getting ahead of myself or I think something's a good idea, she'll say, hang on a minute, have you thought about this? Whether it's from just an outside point of view, whether it's from a female point of view, whether it's just someone from just a different perspective. So it's been great, both personal and professional.
Right. No, that's amazing. And it quite, very clearly rolls into the understanding of the business, right? Because as we talk about in the Build framework, you have to build those relationships so you can more fully understand the business, right? So when we talk about understanding the business, what are some of the key understandings that because of the relationships you've had that you now understand that you think are important to share with the listeners out there today?
Understanding that it's actually a lot of work. Before I started my first business, I thought, yeah, this will happen. I remember when I got my first opportunity to run an event and I took the week off uni and I organized it all, marketed it on Facebook, booked the DJs, and no one turned up. It was like that first lesson. But I loved it enough to think, no, I think I can make this work. Like, I'm not going to give up now. So I think it's just understanding that it is hard work. And then once we're able to find some success, to not just rest on our laurels, so to speak, just expect it to happen. And because as they say, if we do yesterday's business practices today, we'll be out of business tomorrow. So I think it's just important to work hard and just be constantly growing and evolving and learning.
Right. And do you see that direct connection between relationships that you have and the understanding of the business that you then have?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It all started with reaching out and learning from others, because I didn't really know what I was doing when I first got started in business. It was about learning from those who had and building the relationships to be able to basically utilize all sorts of resources. Like, I remember when I started, there were certain DJs that wouldn't play at our events because we hadn't built up a name yet. So I had to work on building those relationships, right, to get them to come along to play.
Great. No, and that leads us right into, and that was kind of one of them maybe, but the concept of implementing the right strategies, right? And using your relationships to understand the business more effectively so that then you can actually implement the strategies that make sense. So I think with all the different things that you've done and learned in the past, what are some things about implementing strategies that you'd like to share with the listeners today?
Yeah, I think the biggest strategy that I've implemented would be going off understanding that I need to work hard, would be getting up early and focusing on the most important tasks. So it was understanding that I need strategies to be able to build this business. So now that I understand it, I need the strategies. It's like, great, let's get up early, let's use the best part of our day to work hard. And it's not just about the first part of the day. I think it's just about prioritizing what is most important to the business. So that's been the best for me, is ordering what's most important and then looking to tackle it first thing if I can, but just ensuring that the most important things are ticked off.
Right. And having that clarity and the productivity too. And you're right, even though you should continue that throughout the day, the thing is when you do it in the morning, you kind of set the tone for the day, right? Because you're up, you're already getting some quick wins, and you're making progress in your day, and then you can continue that momentum throughout the day. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, definitely. It's extraordinary what it does when I launch out of bed, and I suppose touching on how these implementing strategies work in my personal life. Launch out of bed, stretches, exercise, into meditation, and then I'm up and I'm ready for the day. And I find on the days I don't do that, I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball.
Right. It really is ABC, right? Cause and effect. And the more people kind of change their habits to become the habits that you're talking about, the more they see the effect of that in their lives. Let's talk about leading and inspiring. And I know you do a lot of that in, the White Pony network that you have and in all of the other activities that you're engaged in, what do you think is most important about leading and inspiring, and how do you go about making sure that that's what you're doing?
I think it's important to lead by example, to always be out the front, doing the best that I can to show that I practice what I preach. Like, this is what I'm about, and this is why I'm doing it. And I think by implementing the strategies that I do, it allows me to learn more and advance more, to therefore lead and inspire more. I think that a quote that I always think about is, our success in life is defined by the amount of uncomfortable conversations we're willing to have. So I'm always thinking about that, because I know that if I don't have that conversation, I'm holding myself back, which holds business back, which holds back anyone who's learning from me. So yeah, again, it's about constantly growing.
Yeah, that's a great quote. I love that. And you talked about like implementing strategies in the personal and professional, kind of aspect there. How would you relate the lead and inspire category to your personal life?
I think it's about being more patient and being able to listen, being able to really listen and connect with others, and understand that, that people, they're just trying to do their best. And if I get frustrated, that's what I come back to thinking. They're just trying to do their best. And so I think by understanding, I can see other people's perspectives more and connect with them. And then automatically, I believe that's where I can lead, to show others, there are other ways to communicate than just sort of banging heads, so to speak, and then inspire in that way.
Right. Now that's amazing, and that's such a good point, just to really reflect and understand that most people are actually trying to do their best, right? They're not out to maliciously try to go about sabotaging your efforts or anything, and it's really having that kind of connection and apathy, right, to be able to connect. So I think that is really, really important for our listeners to write down if you're taking notes, and hopefully you are. Finally, this all leads to delivering excellence, right? So when you build relationships so you can understand the business, so you implement the right strategies, and you're leading and inspiring, we then are able to deliver excellence. But when we talk about your definition of delivering excellence, and more specifically how you ensure that you're continuing to do that even after all the excellence you've already delivered, what are your thoughts?
It comes back to the effort and the intention, because I can't control the external forces. I mean, I can certainly, have goals towards them and work towards them, but it's fundamentally, from in here. So if I'm giving 100% effort and my intention is set, then the external falls into place. So it's just not about getting hung up on how a particular situation has happened, if it is external. Because I think that it's not about being able to accurately measure yourself by whether or not you win the race. It's by how you run the race.
Right.
So in that example, it would be comparing your personal best, because we can only really compare ourselves to the day before. So I think it's important that by delivering excellence in myself, knowing that I'm doing the best that I can with what I've got, and then the external will look after itself.
Awesome. And how would you say the Build framework has helped you to run the race as well as you have?
I think it's just having the system in place to understand the steps and to do them in order. And then to look back on what I've done, say, even if I wasn't thinking about the Build framework on a particular project, but looking back and going, oh no, I did, I followed it. I followed every letter. And it's great to help understand, okay, let's build the relationships first so I can understand the business, so I know actually what I need to do. If I understand the business, then I can implement the best strategy to get the best results. And then sort of leading, inspiring just really follows from implementing the strategies to the best of my ability. And then we end up at, I've just gone blank on D.
It's delivering excellence, because when
delivering
you
excellence. I spoke about it. Yeah. Then when we get to delivering excellence, it's about looking back and going, okay, all of this has led me to here. So deep down, as long as I'm doing the best that I can, I will be able to make a difference.
Right. And you're so right, and that's so amazing. And when you think about it, and so many leaders that I talk to too, whether they realize it or not, like you just said, or whether they remember the letters even or not, it doesn't matter because they've actually done it. You know what I mean? In hindsight, they go back and they know that they've done that. Now, the truth is, when you can be proactive about understanding them and then having a system in place for like your new venture, right, looking forward and actually ensuring that you do those things, that's where the success really propels, because then you're being mindful about it, or you're aiming your mind with MindAim to be very tactical and practical about what you need to do, right? So I think that's really the benefit of not only just understanding it conceptually, but applying it to moving forward. So thanks for that wisdom. Really, really appreciate that. And speaking of wisdom, my final question for you is, do you have any words of wisdom for our guests as you sit there, whether that's another quote, you have great quotes that people can kind of be inspired by, or any other, just trick or tip that you think is important as you sit here today to share with our listeners?
One of the biggest epiphanies that I think I've ever had is understanding that I am not my thoughts, that they're just a part of me. And by understanding that, I'm then able to realize that I can buy into whatever thoughts I have. I can not think about things. I can basically use my thoughts to set the intention for what I want to do. So it's like, just because I'm thinking something doesn't mean it's true. I'm able to use my thoughts to my advantage to then be able to go out into the world and make a difference.
Right. That's amazing and well stated. If people want to find out more about what you can offer, your services, and all the rest of it, how can they get a hold of you?
You can reach me on Facebook. You can reach me on LinkedIn. You can check out MindAim, which is mindaim.co, or you can check out the podcast, which is whiteponynetwork.com.
Great. Well, thanks again, Wes, so much for joining us. Thank all of you listeners for watching this episode. I hope you wrote down a lot of that wisdom, because it will really, really help you propel you to success in the future. As always, if you have more questions about the Build Framework itself, you can go to thebuildframework.com. I'm JP, and it's been my privilege to have you on this show, Wes, and I thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time on The Build Show.